Good afternoon and welcome to the VLRP lesson. My name is Cynthia Mpanya and today's lesson is on simple and compound sentences for our grade 8 learners. Now let's look what are the sentence types. Before we start with sentence types, there is a very important aspect that contributes to sentence type. It is called clauses. Do you know that you have 3 types of clauses? Well, I'm going to quickly tell you what they are. Follow along. What is a clause? A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and verb. We have independent clause, makes sense on its own as a sentence. We have a subordinate or dependent clause, does not make sense on its own as a sentence. And we have a relative clause. It provides extra information about a noun. It is also a type of subordinate or independent clause. Let us go to the type of sentences, and we start with simple sentence. It contains a subject and a verb. It expresses a single complete thought that can stand on its own. The sentence will not always be short. So, do not confuse simple, the word simple, with short or uncomplicated. Because the sentence is simple, don't expect it to be short. Look at this previous sentence. The sentence will not always be short. So we cannot take it for granted that the word simple means that the sentence will be short or uncomplicated. In this case, simple is a grammatical concept referring to the number of clauses in a sentence. The sentence might have 2 subjects or 2 verbs at times because both verbs share the same subject and express one complete thought. Let us look at the following examples. The baby cried for food. What did the baby do? He cried for food. One subject, the baby, and one verb, cried. That is an example of a short sentence. The baby cried for food. But remember, we said it will not always be a short sentence. Look at the following. Professor Mapple's intelligent student completed and turned in their homework. In the previous example, the baby cried for food. We had one subject and one verb. Ne? Now, in this example, we have one subject, but how many verbs do we have? Now we have 2 verbs. Professor Mample's intelligent student completed and turned in their homework. It expresses one complete thought about what? Professor Mample's intelligent students. Now let us look at the following. Harry and Ron ate too much and felt sick. I want to take you back to a second sentence or point. It must, the first point, the sentence might have 2 subjects or 2 verbs. We started with the sentence with one verb and one subject. The baby cried. Then we looked at the sentence with one subject, Professor Mample's intelligent students, and 2 verbs, completed and turned. Now we are going to look at what? Where the sentence has 2 subjects and 2 verbs. Harry and Ron, 2 subjects, ate too much and felt sick, 2 verbs. But the thought is one complete thought. It's not that Harry and Ron ate and then another independence clause. No, this one is one complete thought where Harry and Ron ate too much and fell sick. Now, I also want to bring you to your attention to something here. Look at the tense of these two verbs, completed and turned, ate and felt. They must be in the same tense. If both of them are, if the first one is in past tense, the second one must also be in past tense. Or if the first one is in simple present tense, the second one must also be in simple present tense. Now, let's go to compound sentences. A compound sentence has two independent clauses. Independent clauses are part of a sentence that can stand alone. I'm going to explain it to you. Because it contains a subject and a verb and expresses a complete thought. A compound sentence contains two simple sentences. Because it's compound, it now has two simple sentences, meaning that your sentence, those two sentences must express a complete thought. Otherwise, that does not become a compound sentence. These independent clauses are joined by conjunctions for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so, etc. Compound sentences connect two simple sentences, but they often do not show a clear relationship between the two parts. For example, I waited for the bus, but it was late. Two simple sentences. I waited for the bus. The first simple sentence, but it was late. Now remember, in the previous slides, we explained that they are often joined by what? By conjunction, but. This is an independent clause. I waited for the bus. Another independent clause, but it was late. Let us look at examples of these compound clauses, sentences. The shoplifter had stolen clothes, so he ran once he saw the police. Simple sentence, the shoplifter had stolen the clothes. Another sentence, he ran once he saw the police. Both sides of the conjunction, so, meaning that the shoplifter and he ran, are complete simple sentences. Therefore, this is a compound sentence. Remember this, we said, formed by two complete simple sentences. If you see two complete simple sentences joined by conjunctions, so, and, or, then you must know that it is a compound sentence. The second example, they spoke to him in Spanish, but he responded in English. They are not related. They are not related. They spoke to him in English, in Spanish, has no relationship with he responded in English. But what I want to bring your attention to is ask yourself a question. If this is a compound sentence, can I see two independent clauses or two simple sentences joined by a conjunction? If the answer is yes to both, then you must know that this is a compound sentence. This is also a compound sentence that uses a conjunction to separate two individual clauses. We have come to an end of another lesson. I want to thank you for joining in, and I hope you took some notes so that you can be able to study further. I want to wish you a pleasant day and thank you. Goodbye. But before we leave, remember we also have our lesson quiz. You can find this by either scanning the QR code or following the link that has been provided. Until we see each other next week, goodbye.